The U.S. Mexico border, a complex and multifaceted reality. The U.S. Mexico border, a 1,954-mile demarcation stretching across California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, is far more than a simple line on a map. It represents a complex intersection of economic, social, political, environmental, and humanitarian issues, making it a subject of intense debate and scrutiny. This region faces a multitude of interconnected challenges that demand nuanced understanding and multifaceted solutions. Illegal immigration and the search for opportunity. One of the most prominent issues associated with the southern border is illegal immigration. Each year, a significant number of individuals attempt to cross into the United States without authorization. Their motivations are diverse and complex, ranging from seeking asylum from persecution and violence in their home countries to pursuing better economic opportunities and reuniting with family members already in the U.S. This flow of migrants has been a central political issue for decades, sparking heated debates about border security, immigration policy, and humanitarian concerns. Discussions often revolve around the efficacy and morality of physical barriers like walls and fences, the role of law enforcement and border patrol agents, and the treatment of those apprehended at the border. The debate also encompasses the root causes of migration, such as poverty, political instability, and violence in migrants' countries of origin. Finding a balance between enforcing immigration laws, addressing humanitarian needs, and acknowledging the economic contributions of immigrants remains a significant challenge. The scourge of drug trafficking. The U.S. Mexico border serves as a major entry point for illegal drugs into the United States. Drug trafficking organizations exploit the porous nature of the border to smuggle narcotics, including heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, and fentanyl. This influx of illicit substances fuels the ongoing opioid crisis and other substance abuse problems across the nation, contributing to a range of devastating consequences: increased crime rates, drug overdoses, strain on healthcare systems, and the breakdown of families and communities. Combating drug trafficking requires a multi-pronged approach involving enhanced border security measures, international cooperation with Mexican authorities to disrupt drug cartels, and domestic efforts to reduce demand for drugs through prevention, treatment, and law enforcement strategies. Human trafficking, exploitation, and vulnerability. Beyond drug trafficking, the border region is also tragically affected by human trafficking, including both sex trafficking and forced labor. Criminal organizations exploit vulnerable individuals, often migrants seeking a better life, for profit. These victims are subjected to horrific abuses, including sexual exploitation, forced labor in agriculture, construction, or domestic service, and other forms of coercion and control. Addressing human trafficking requires increased vigilance and law enforcement efforts to identify and dismantle trafficking networks, as well as providing support and protection to victims. International cooperation and collaboration with non-governmental organizations are crucial in combating this heinous crime. Environmental degradation and resource scarcity. The border region faces significant environmental challenges, including water scarcity in arid and semi-arid landscapes, desertification due to climate change and land use practices, and the fragmentation of wildlife habitats caused by border infrastructure. The construction of walls and fences can disrupt animal migration patterns and negatively impact fragile ecosystems. Sustainable water management, conservation efforts, and cross-border environmental cooperation are essential to mitigate these environmental challenges and protect the unique biodiversity of the border region. Economic disparities and social instability. Economic disparities are prevalent along the border, with poverty and unemployment rates often exceeding national averages. This economic hardship can contribute to social instability, crime, and further incentivize migration. Investing in economic development, job creation, and education in border communities is crucial for addressing these underlying economic challenges. A vital economic corridor and cultural crossroads. Despite the challenges, the U.S. Mexico border is also a vital economic corridor, facilitating billions of dollars in trade annually. The North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, now succeeded by the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, has significantly influenced trade flows and economic integration between the two countries. The border region is also a vibrant cultural crossroads, with strong family and economic ties connecting communities on both sides. Many individuals cross the border daily for work, education, or to visit family, highlighting the interconnectedness of the region. Famous cases. The U.S. southern border has been the subject of numerous legal cases that have shaped immigration policy and border enforcement practices. Here are a few notable examples. United States versus Brignoni-Ponce, 1975. This Supreme Court case addressed the issue of vehicle stops by Border Patrol agents. The court ruled that officers cannot stop vehicles solely based on the occupant's apparent Mexican ancestry. They must have reasonable suspicion of illegal activity to justify a stop. This case established important limitations on Border Patrol authority and protected against racial profiling. I.N.S. versus Delgado, 1984. This Supreme Court case dealt with workplace raids by the Immigration and Naturalization Service, I.N.S., the predecessor to ICE. The court held that factory surveys, where I.N.S. agents questioned employees about their immigration status, did not constitute a Fourth Amendment violation as long as employees were free to leave. This case has been criticized for its impact on workplace rights and its potential to lead to discriminatory practices. Jennings versus Rodriguez, 2018. This Supreme Court case addressed the issue of prolonged detention of immigrants awaiting deportation proceedings. The court held that immigrants do not have a right to bond hearings every 6 months, even if their detention is prolonged. This decision has had significant implications for the detention of immigrants and has raised concerns about due process and prolonged detention without adequate review. These cases represent just a few examples of the many legal battles that have been fought over issues related to the U.S. southern border. They highlight the ongoing tension between border security, immigration enforcement, and individual rights. The legal landscape surrounding the border continues to evolve as new cases arise and courts grapple with complex legal and policy questions. The need for a comprehensive approach, addressing the complex challenges and harnessing the opportunities presented by the U.S. Mexico border requires a comprehensive and multifaceted approach. This includes enhanced border security, implementing effective border security measures while respecting human rights and ensuring humane treatment of migrants. International cooperation, strengthening collaboration between the U.S. and Mexican governments to combat drug trafficking, human trafficking, and other transnational crimes. Addressing root causes, investing in economic development and addressing the underlying causes of migration in migrants' countries of origin. Humanitarian aid, providing humanitarian assistance to migrants and asylum seekers, including access to shelter, medical care, and legal services. Economic development, promoting economic growth and job creation in border communities. Environmental protection, implementing sustainable environmental management practices and cross-border conservation efforts. Understanding the multifaceted nature of the U.S. Mexico border is essential for developing effective policies and solutions. It requires moving beyond simplistic narratives and engaging in nuanced dialogue that considers the diverse perspectives and experiences of all stakeholders.